Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in back in again. Thank you for watching my Switch video from yesterday. I realize a whole bunch of you out there have also got the same console. There's only one game out for it at the moment really, which is Zelda, and it's pretty epic. I forgot how much I love playing video games. I also forgot how frustrating it is playing video games when you get stuck. Thank you God for YouTube, for people who've already solved the game before you and who tell you how to get through things. I feel like, why didn't I have this growing up? Why didn't I have a cheat sheet for everything that I was doing growing up? Speaking of the Switch though, I thought that was really funny. This console, the Joy-Con, when you put it in this little holster thing, some people say it looks a little bit like a dog head. Look, I just kind of hold it like this. It kind of looks a little bit like a dog head, right? And what's real funny is that there's this whole subculture of people who are doing art based on the Joy-Con dog head, which is hilarious. You gotta love the internet for just making things up like this. I don't think anybody could have predicted how ridiculous this was gonna be, but it exists. Anyway, look, I promised I would give you my review of La La Land, so here it is, my review of La La Land. Initially, when I went to see this movie, I really had a lot of prejudices against it. Now, initially, when I think about movies that are about Hollywood, about show business, I generally kind of shy away. There's only been a few exceptions to that rule. The Producers, which isn't really about Hollywood, but it is about show business, but I really love Mel Brooks and I love the music in that movie. I also love Singing in the Rain, which is also a show business movie, but damn, that movie is charming. The music is amazing and Singing in the Rain is just a classic. And of course it has Debbie Reynolds, who is Carrie Fisher's mum, and may she rest in peace. Now, I don't like movies about showbiz generally. And the first 20 minutes of La La Land was pretty much that. It was about a struggling actress, Emma Stone, basically trying to break in the ranks of Hollywood, trying to go to audition after audition and just failing because the process is so brutal. And I guess if you're actually in the business of auditioning, it would be pretty brutal. But to be honest, I just don't care. It's like, yeah, it's a business, but that's just kind of how it works. And it kind of sucks. But it just kind of reminds me of the brutal reality of the fact that Hollywood is such a broken system. I mean, I don't want to know that stuff. I don't want to know how the sausage is made. And then the other side of the story is Ryan Gosling's story, which is actually where the movie picks up a little bit. And because this movie is directed by Damien Chazelle, he loves jazz. Like, he clearly loves jazz. In fact, I think in previous interviews, he's talked about how he used to be in a jazz band. And in this movie, he clearly has an affinity for this particular genre of jazz, which is very old school kind of bluesy jazz, which I really love as well. In fact, the Whiplash soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Anyway, I digress. So the first 20 minutes is about Emma Stone's character, which I was completely bored about, but then they redo the first 20 minutes of the movie with Ryan Gosling's character from his point of view. That kind of caught me off guard because I thought, hang on a sec, this is like proper filmmaking. I'm actually paying attention now. That was kind of clever that they did that. It didn't just go through the whole linear fashion. It kind of went forward and then backwards and then came forward again, which is like, that's kind of cool. And they retraced the steps of these two characters as they kind of came together and met at this particular point, and where, you know, the meet cute occurs, which wasn't much of a meet cute, but there is a hilarious meet cute later on where, you know, it really kind of paints the picture that Ryan Gosling, he kind of crushes on it. And I'm going to spoil it a little bit. So if you don't want to hear the rest of this, just understand I did like this movie, but if you don't want to hear the rest of this, then you can just go and see me tomorrow. But yeah, there's this really great scene where Ryan Gosling walks Emma Stone to the car, and it's that initial meeting where I guess in musicals you have that I guess it's an homage in those musicals where they're kind of getting to know each other, but by the end they kind of fall in love. But I guess it's more of it didn't quite end up that way, but it kind of shows how they loathe each other, but by the end they kind of fall in love, which happens Singing in the Rain as well. And it didn't quite happen the way that you might think it is. They didn't completely fall in love, but there was definitely interest. And I love that essentially Ryan Gosling's character walks Emma Stone to her car and then walks all the way back to his car, which is parked at the front of the house. And it was like a nice little reveal going, you know what? He kind of likes her. It's like, ah. And from that point on, that movie just won me over. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. And there was also another scene which was really, really poignant, where Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling's character is doing really well in his band, and they're sitting down having dinner and they're discussing about what he should be doing with the rest of the year, because he's going to go on tour, and she's really upset because she wants to spend time with him but he's not going to be around, and he's trying to convince her to come along. And to be honest, both characters have a really difficult choice, because she wants to pursue her dream and he wants to pursue his dream, and they don't want to compromise on what they're doing. And it was a tough choice, because I personally feel like I've been in that situation many a time, and I don't feel like anybody could have won. Like, it's just a tough choice. Like, somebody will lose. Like, somebody will have to lose, and it's not going to be great. The other person will have regrets about making that decision, essentially, and it'll never go well for either of them, and eventually will break up. So it's probably better that they do break up there. And it's a tough choice. Like, I don't disagree with the way they went with that direction. I think the end as well. I will talk about the end, so if you don't want to listen, again, if you're still listening, spoiler. The ending to me was pitch perfect. It was exactly the heart of that story. They weren't supposed to be together, but everybody knows that first love, that true love that you met, you never forget them. And you always, whenever you see them, you always know that that was the life you had hoped for the both of them. And that's what I saw it as. When Emma Stone looked into Ryan Gosling's eyes at the end of the movie, it was the life they would hoped they could have had together. But due to circumstances, that's just the way it is. Like, life just doesn't always go that way. And unfortunately, I think that's just life, and I think that was the right ending for it. It's kind of bittersweet, but I thought it was kind of good. It was a nice little musical, a little musical montage they did to then sort of re-going through the whole life and their whole life, and then kind of going fast flash forward to the future, showing what kind of life they could have had. Look, I loved it. I really loved it. I didn't want to love it, but I ended up loving this film so much more than I thought I wanted to. Obviously, it didn't win the Oscar for Best Film, but, I don't know. I haven't seen Moonlight yet, so I can't judge. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's a fair review? Did you see Moonlight? Did you see any of the other Oscar noms? Tell me what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow.